Hello, welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I get to sit down with musician Levi Evans. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Well, Levi, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. I want to start at the beginning of your musical journey, just like we do with all the other artists that we talk to on the show. So the first question I want to ask you is, what is your earliest musical memory?
My earliest musical memory, it's funny, I don't even know how old I must have been, but I remember I was at a show and my mom was carrying me. And I remember looking up at the stage and just thinking, like, how could anyone like see the performers up there? Like, it was just this huge like wall. And I remember seeing that and just being at a show at that young age. So just from the get-go, I mean, that's like kind of even one of my earliest memories, I'd say. It's like, but that's, yeah, when you talk about the first thing I remember, that was like the first thing with music.
As a songwriter, do you remember the first song that you wrote and kind of conceived yourself?
Long story short, I started off actually producing and rapping. So I remember the very first song I made. I was about 16 years old. And that's how I kind of fell in love with music. Actually, because it's always been a big part of my life, but, I never thought, it wasn't until later on in life where I realized I wanted to do this. And, even when I just realized I wanted to do it, it was a totally different genre and a totally different thing. And then it just kind of evolved.
I want to get into your sound in just a little bit because it has a really awesome blend of a lot of cool things, and I haven't really heard anything quite like it. We'll hop on that in just a little bit. But I'm just curious, was there a moment in your mind that you really just knew that music wasn't just something that you enjoyed doing, that was going to be like, that's the thing you want to do, that's the thing you want to pursue in your life?
Yeah, I've always been, a creative person. For a while, I wanted to be an animator, and I just wanted, art was always something that I used to express myself. And as I started getting more and more passionate about music, and the idea of colleges and what I was going to do with my life came up, I realized that there was nothing I wanted to do more than just music. And I felt like it was the most potent medium for me to express myself. And yeah, it was really that. It was when it was choosing what to do in when you're choosing the college to go to and where you want to go to and why. It was in that moment where I really thought to myself, this is what I want to pursue. And this is what I'm going to do. And I only lasted a semester at college, but then, and then I started working at a recording studio, and just, I never looked back.
Catch me when you're feeling low. You can always ask me what you want to know. Leave it for what's last, and you can call your own on the ride to the coast. Tell you everything is fine, tells me everything is fine. My 2 feet treading the plane, try to find me a name. Gotta cut off the rope and gotta break out the chain. We used to love it when it rained. We used to love it. You're back in my head again. You're back in my head again.
When I heard your music, there was just an interesting blend of indie, there was like some hip hop stuff in there, there was like poppy things going on. It was all like this amalgamation of a lot of really cool things. It was chill, but it was exciting, it was engaging, and yet it was like really ethereal. Like it had a really cool stuff going on with it. And I'm just curious, when it comes to your lyrics, how exactly do you go about figuring out the angle in which to write? Because, obviously it feels a little experiential to me, but I don't know. Do you write figuratively? Do you write from your own person? I don't know. How do you like to do that?
A lot of it is like diary entries. Everything is very personal to me. I think back to actual events that have happened and images in my head a lot of the time. And it's kind of, I'm always looking for that spark when it comes to a production or a song or something. And a lot of the time they just flow out of me, and I don't actually have to think much about them. And it's funny because I'll look at my lyrics and be like, oh my God, like I remember you just don't think, it's like you connect to something and you don't really think about it and you just kind of let it flow out of you. And then you can look at it and be like, oh wow, like, okay. So for the most part, yeah, I don't tend to think, but a lot of it is personal. And for certain things, there is these images in my head of times, that I've been through. So yeah, it's all very personal. It's all very personal.
You grew up in a musical family. Your dad is a famous musician, The Edge from U2. I'm just curious, did he give you any advice as far as like going into the musical industry, or like any words of wisdom that you really took on?
Be nice to everyone in the industry, and like just everyone, and because managers and whatever role people have in this industry, they're in it because they love music. And he just said, the most important thing is just be nice to everyone, and make good relationships and connect with people. And yeah, that's kind of the best advice.
I want to hop onto your single, which is Back in My Head Again, which we've been talking about it a little bit throughout the interview. Super awesome indie, kind of really cool, engaging vibe to it. I'm just wondering, what was the process of like writing that for you, and like what does that song mean to you?
It's very much about mental health, and it's kind of it was the voice in my head and kind of being stuck in this routine. And the song came about, so I work with a producer, his name is Power, and me and him work together a lot on stuff. And whenever he comes in the room, there's always something going on, some magic or something. So he actually originally had that song. I wrote that song to one of his beats, a totally different beat. And I wrote the lyrics and everything and the verses, and a couple months went by, and I was kind of sitting with the song, and I was like, wow, I really like this song, but I want to make it more of my own, and I want to play instruments on it. So then I grabbed a guitar, and I pretty much reproduced. I kept his drums and bass, and then I just kind of started from scratch and did all the guitars and everything, and then it kind of it turned into what it is today. So
your music video for this song, I was watching it, I'm like, something feels different about this. This feels like cinematic, this feels good. And I didn't know this. You shot it on 35 millimeter. What was that planning of the music video like, and what was behind the decision to do 35?
Joji is the guy who directed it. He's the kid, he's about my age, and I kind of came to him with a totally different treatment idea, and I was like, oh, I kind of have these ideas, and but I was like, I really wanted someone to help me with this, because visually on that side, I feel like another head is going to be really good. So I brought him with this idea, and he listened to me, but then he sent me this other treatment, which was like, I think it should be black and white on film, like this, that, and the other. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna roll with you, man. Like, so we, really he crafted that the idea for the music video, and then once we got the treatment together, we talked about things, but he's getting the credit for that. But yeah, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, kind of shooting something like that, and kind of the first big production. So it wasn't a big production. It was actually really small, but it felt big, because we were shooting on these big cameras and everything. And yeah, it was a crazy experience. I almost died the second day. My tire popped on the 5 coming home, and I was in that little car, and I just learned how to drive stick for 3 weeks prior to the music video. So it was pretty crazy. But yeah, we survived and we're all good. So yeah.
A music video is no good unless it has a near-death experience. Just remember that. That's how you remember them. Well, the song is out now. The music video is out for people to watch. And if people want to keep up with you online, how can they find you?
The best way is Instagram. So Levi Evans on Instagram. I also got a Twitter, but I'm still learning how to use that. But definitely, Instagram. I'm on all the socials. Just Levi Evans. Yeah.
Sick. Well, Levi, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you. But before you go, I have one more question. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched a Big Bang Radio Spotlight before, but I'm a musician, but I also love film. And I believe those two worlds are not too far away from each other. And I believe musicians just have a soft spot for film that's just different than other people. So before you go, Levi, what's your favorite movie?
I gotta say, Hayao Miyazaki movies. All those movies. Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke. The art and the animation in them and the storytelling is just incredible and really inspiring.
Thanks to Levi for sitting down with us and talking all about his music. If you guys want to see more interviews just like this, you can find us online at Studio 67 NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.